Welcome guys to another ProGuides video. My name is Nathan Ng and today we're going to be talking about one of the best, if not the best CSGO player. That's right, of course we're talking about s1mple. This video was designed to help you guys pick up on some things that s1mple does so you guys can just steal them and be a better player yourself, or rather utilize them. Before we do that though, it's time for our question of the day. Today's question is, what do you think makes s1mple so damn good? Or, who's your favorite pro player? s1mple is undeniably one of the best pro players, but what exactly is so good about him? Of course, we're going to be talking about it in this video, so what are your thoughts? Make sure to let us know in the comments down below. So let's go ahead and start off by talking about why s1mple is so great. The first thing that s1mple is known for is the fact that he's always in the right spot and in the right time, allowing him to have loads and loads of impact. But how does he do it? How does s1mple just always seem to be in the right side of the map? In previous videos, we've talked about the importance of having an aggressive playstyle in order to maximize your impact in each round. But some players think that he isn't really mega aggressive and instead he just opts for a different way to have a lot of impact, which is what we're going to be getting into now. s1mple is always on the move and is always making sure that he's in a position to rotate and be on the bomb site his opponents are attacking. For example, on the CT side of overpass, he really enjoys playing around B heaven or A stairs. Playing either of these spots will allow you to rotate within 3 seconds to the other bomb site, and that is exactly why he loves playing there. A lot of teams nowadays when playing against Navi are always thinking about how to actively avoid s1mple. Therefore, he's always forced to somehow be on both sides or to go for an aggressive play, which is something that he can always do, but he decides not to, or at least not every round, because he mixes things up. s1mple really is a great example of how he can be impactful while also being passive. And going into our second thought is going to be how he always switches up his playstyle. s1mple doesn't like doing the same protocols every single round, and that's why you can see him switch it up every single play. Some rounds he'll go for really aggressive and stay on overpass where he would go mid or connector, and the other rounds he'll just stay on B heaven right away and doesn't even attempt to take any map control. The reason s1mple does this is to stay unpredictable to keep his aggressive plays effective, as it'll always be surprising while also making sure that his opponents are always staying on their toes. The fact that he's always so unpredictable just really makes it so much more difficult to play against him, as it is one of the bigger reasons that he can be so impactful without even getting a kill. Some rounds he even decides to play fully passively, and you'll just have to see how paranoid the T players are. Something else that makes s1mple just so much better is the fact that he is so good at the op as well as a rifle. We already talked about the importance of being unpredictable, but s1mple one-ups that by not only being an unpredictable opper, but also an amazing rifler. The amount of plays that you can do by having both the ability to op and rifle is truly impeccable. A problem a lot of oppers face, and especially the matchmaking ones, is that they're not as good with the rifle as they are with their weapon of choice. If you're great with the op, then you're probably going to be able to get away with not being as good with the rifle. But having the ability to do both truly gives you the potential to be a world-class player like s1mple. It's not an ability that a lot of people might have, but if you are one of them or you're able to become one of them, then you're gonna definitely be successful in your CSGO career. The next daring thing that s1mple does all the time is that he goes for those wallbangs. s1mple is a true believer of you miss all shots that you don't take, and therefore he takes all shots. Going for wallbangs is not something a lot of players do, especially not on a consistent basis, but s1mple is a little bit different. s1mple knows a ton of lineups for all sorts of wallbangs, and he tries to hit them constantly whenever he has teammates close to cover him. Doing this will allow him to get so many clips with straight up wallbangs, and maybe even more importantly allow him to win extra rounds in games. Even when you don't actually kill a player but tag him instead, getting hit by a wallbang, especially with a high damaging weapon like a scout or an op, is still one of the most tilting experiences in the game, and will definitely put you at an advantage. And even if the damage isn't the reason that you win the round, the tilt might be. Even when you don't hit a single person all game, you can still argue it's worth it because you're going to make your opponents aware that they can't stand behind certain spots or death will be a consequence, which is definitely what you want your opponents thinking about all the time. Something else that s1mple is very aware of is the importance of having information. CSGO is a game where information is the currency, and s1mple is very much aware of that. Because of that fact, you can constantly find him doing plays to get info or just simply jump spotting. Jump spotting is a relatively safe way to get information if you do it in the right spots, and therefore it's very much worthwhile to be constantly doing it. By jump spotting, you're exposing yourself in a usually unexpected position for a very short amount of time, and with it you're able to get a lot of information. It's honestly a little bit sad to see how little players fully understand the concept of info and how round-changing having info is. If you find yourself always having to gamble, or if you're always in a 2v5 or a 3v5 hold, then you're probably playing it wrong. Another thing that just completes s1mple even more is that he also has good supportive habits. Almost everyone knows that CSGO is a team game, even the silver players in matchmaking. Almost no players truly understand what it means though, well actually to the extent that s1mple does. As someone that personally has been in Master Guardian's Legendary Eagle matchmaking team when I first started out, I can confidently say I didn't have a single clue of what I was doing back then, nor did I even understand the team play aspect of CSGO at all. There's so many nuances to having game sense and a lot of game experience that I can't even really put it into words, but it really does set s1mple and his team apart. I was playing with a team, but none of us truly understand what a team was supposed to be like. When you're watching s1mple play, you can see that he understands this concept, but even though he's the star player, he's also the one that sits back and flashes for his teammates. If s1mple is rotating in from the other side and the opponents are pushing his teammates, he will almost always flash for them during his rotation. He doesn't just support his team during rotations though, but in any situation that calls for it really. A lot of players that don't flash for their teammates, especially on the CT site, uses the excuse like, well, I don't really have any lineups for the flash that would help them, even though usually a lineup is far from needed. Sure, for certain specific plays you can find really good and essentially undodgeable pop flashes, but that's not what truly matters. A flash behind your defending teammate in the air is almost always effective, at least when he's going to be pushed and there's not a single lineup required. A lot of flashes can be thrown just on the fly and only really need a basic understanding of how grenades work in CSGO. If you are one of those people like 99% of all matchmaking players that rarely use their flashes for defending their teammates, maybe even just because you don't know any good lineups, then you might just want to go to an offline server and just experiment by throwing random utility and seeing where it lands. The goal of it is to really understand where the utility will go once you release it, so like s1mple, you'll be able to throw flashes on the fly. So what else is s1mple good at? Well, he's a master of using the Desert Eagle. The Desert Eagle, or Deagle, is one of the most powerful weapons in the game, especially if you consider it only costs $700. Unlike the $3,100 M4A4, it is actually able to one-shot opponents in the head, and therefore makes the magical ability to win ecos, half-buys, and force rounds alike. Seriously though, the Deagle is insanely powerful for its price, and being good with it can really pay off. s1mple is pretty known for the fact that he can suddenly win his team seemingly impossible rounds, and his ability with the Deagle is a big part of that. There's tons of clips of s1mple just carrying an eco round by getting a drop Deagle or even just by buying one himself. Because of his outstanding skills, he's able to get multi-kills while ecoing against fully bought opponents. If that doesn't convince you of how powerful that little $700 pistol is, or rather big pistol, I honestly don't know what will. So as soon as you get done watching this video, hop into your preferred way of practicing, whether that's aimbots, deathmatch, or something else, and go work on your Juan Deegs. Speaking of training aim, s1mple is always working on his. s1mple wasn't just gifted with his great aim, unlike what most people think. He actually had to work hard for it. You and I are likely the same. We probably weren't born with amazing aiming skills, but if we put enough time and efficient practice, we will gain them. A lot of people are always looking for shortcuts or ways to help them improve their aim faster. And although there are certain things, especially in a game like Counter-Strike, that will make sure that you always need to rely on your aim less, good aim will always help, and the only way of truly getting that is by putting in sufficient practice. Another thing that makes s1mple so great is that he's not afraid to use his nut aims to go for those nut shots and those nutty plays. Like I said previously, s1mple truly believes in you miss all shots that you don't take, so s1mple just takes all those shots, even those nut ones. We've probably all seen the clip of s1mple jumping down from heaven on Cash B's site and no-scoping two Fnatic players during the semi-final of ESL 1 Cologne 2016 Major. And we don't really mean to tell you to go for those kinds of plays all the time, but you should bring that kind of energy, if you know what I mean. s1mple doesn't shy away from making daring and aggressive plays when his team needs him to. From that clip, if you watch s1mple enough, many players can clearly see that s1mple fully trusts himself, his aim, and his game sense. If s1mple's game sense is telling him to jump down from B heaven and no-scope two people, then that's what she'll do. And when I said nut shots, I didn't really mean, you know. s1mple is one of the pro players that have the most hours, having spent more than 16,000 hours just playing the global offensive version of the game. That's an insane amount. I can definitely put money on the fact that you probably don't have equal or even close to that same amount of hours. s1mple can also be seen playing FPL within an hour of his official ending. He truly puts in more hours than any other pro, and is super dedicated to the game, and that's something that you can only respect. This ludicrous amount of hours s1mple has only goes to show that he isn't the best from natural talent, but rather from the thousands upon thousands of hours that he puts into the game, which means that if you're willing to do the same, you can probably just be as good as him one day. Just make sure if you're trying to play an extensive amount of hours of CSGO that you're really focused on your wrist health, because you don't want to get carpal tunnel. Well guys, that's gonna be it for now, and I hope you guys really did enjoy this video, and if you do, make sure you like and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell to never miss a video such as this. And if you're interested in S1mple, and since you're watching this you probably are, make sure to head over to ProGuides.com because he does teach a course there. Aside from that, you can also get a coach if that is more of your playstyle. Anyway, with that all being said, I hope you guys stay safe, I hope you guys stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.